moment we're at this day and age where everyone without exception is traumatized, because we live in a society of dysfunctional family, traumatized, have different kind of or people underwent different stressful situations, circumstances, different kind of imbalanced, emotionally threatening maybe, or some kind of other forms of emotional, mental, and physical abuse or imbalance. And so our current spirituality is basically the spirituality of healing, because we're trying to create healing, we're trying to create balance within ourselves. So we cannot really find true spirituality, because first of all, in order to find spirituality, we have to be mentally, emotionally, physically balanced. At the moment, the whole world looks like a mental asylum where everyone is getting crazy in their own loud or silent way. And so our spirituality is also spirituality of delusion and hallucination, because instead of trying to get rid of certain issues, we are, on the contrary, propel them, and we also promote our distortions or try to look for validation of our distortions instead of really refining them. So as long as, to my mind, as long as the society promotes and validates mental, emotional issues and imbalances and takes it for normality, we are not going to find the way out. We're not going to find true way to balance, which comes through natural spirituality. So we will have all the forms of distorted, perverted spirituality. We will have all different forms of even sexual perversion and other type of perversion, cultural, social perversion, which will be promoted by the society, kind of engulfing these perversions as a part of normality and social order, until one day there will be a breakthrough. So my point was to explain that at the moment, even through all these years and interaction with people, I've come to the conclusion that everybody needs a shrink, because they come to spirituality with the purpose of kind of self-healing and deeper self-understanding, yet there is so much underneath which is not acknowledged. And eventually the imbalances get better of them and push them again into the illusion or delusion, even in the name of spirituality. So the true spirituality would be driving them towards complete balance, where they would cultivate stillness and contentment and not trying to be something else now. So if before they feel like they're losers, so they would not try to empower themselves through the external means or through the external world, but would try to, on the contrary, bring themselves back into natural stillness and contentment. But our current spirituality is the spirituality of delusion, because it simply thrives on delusions, thrives on mental imbalances, thrives on emotional imbalances and all kinds of perversions, because it tries to include everything and say that everything is a part of it, but it's not, because true spirituality is very subtle. It's about the balance and contentment and stillness, simplicity and selflessness. Now the spirituality of narcissism or selfishness is the one that validates delusion, that promotes delusion, and which tries to simply give you just another tag, another name in this transitory reality. So it doesn't anyhow heal you, but on the contrary, just simply validates that which is already of an imbalanced nature. And that's why our current spirituality is not the true spirituality, it's pseudo. It's a spirituality that is a result of our inner corruption, perversion, and inner distortions. It's a spirituality of mental imbalances. And at the moment, there will be a lot of criticism if you say that everyone is mentally imbalanced, but it is so, because we're so far from the natural world, we're so far from the balanced natural world, that for us, the imbalances are our normality. Delusion is our normality. Escapism from reality is our normality. And so you can see at the moment all forms of mental imbalances, which again result in the imbalances of the body, or result on the imbalances of the body, and all kinds of disorders. But most of the people keep it kind of together. Even though they're imbalanced and they have mental issues, they kind of still keep it together. And so at the moment, mental asylum is only for those who are like absolutely out of control and go into some kind of or go through deep psychotic episodes, or some kind of inner conflict which already affects their day-to-day activities or their interaction with other people, or poses certain threat to their personal existence or to the existence of the surrounding. But it doesn't mean that all the other people are not mentally imbalanced or are actually healthy. Because the ego, the existence of this corrupt sense of self, is already a sign of mental imbalance, of a psychiatric disorder within, which eventually sort of drags one into all kinds of extremities, drains one's being in different times of life, causes emotional dramas, different kind of emotional outbursts, and emotional imbalanced perception of self and the other. But as long as you can function in a society, you're considered as normal. So most of the people are not looking for true spirituality, and they cannot, because it's beyond the scope of even imagination. All they're looking for is healing and psycho-spiritual therapy. And that's what I've been doing, because even some people who are extremely, they've kind of broken through within themselves, and they are such a minority and hard to find, still there are a lot of psychological unresolved issues there underlined, traumas from their childhood, misinterpretation of situations and themselves, and a lot of delusion on the account of, or confusion even, forget, not necessarily delusion, but there can be confusion. And when you lack clarity, you are confused. It's the worst state of being, which causes further rapture within and psychological imbalances. So there's a lot of confusion on the account of themselves and the world and what they perceive. And being a good being, a kind being, does not define you as a mentally balanced person, because a lot of kind beings go through a lot of havoc within themselves and are driven to the insanity. So this good and bad, again, is only within the social religious context. Another thing is that what actually drives us to insanity is this sense of I'm against the world, victimization, which comes from the parental archetypes and all kinds of traumas which one experiences, or situations which one interprets as traumas during early childhood. So people who have these issues unresolved cannot simply break through. They can let go of certain superficial things, including even their possessions and some ideas of in their lives. But this work, which they have to do, is a deeper refinement on a psychospiritual level, which will reflect on their nervous system, because at the moment many people have been so much traumatized or suffered throughout life, so their nervous system simply reacts on its own. It looks for stimulation. It looks for some kind of excitement, even though they aren't really aware of it. If, let's say, people experience some abuses in the childhood or regular stressful moments in their childhood, so their nervous, or even throughout their teenage times, so the nervous system is used to experience this stimulation. And stimulation doesn't mean good or bad, because whatever is the circumstance, the nervous system interprets everything as a stimulation or no stimulation. So if one experienced something negative or whatever traumatic experiences, or even super excitement or some form of stress where nervous system was stimulated, so one will be prone to provoke this stimulation to happen, or some kind of drama in their lives themselves, to just create another sort of a kick in the nervous system, or another stimulation moment. And so many times you see that people are very wise, and they eat healthy and do everything healthy, but yet they unconsciously, without being really aware what they do, create or try to create these dramatic situations that say every week, because this nervous system since childhood or teenage times was used to be stimulated every week by some kind of dramatic event. And so it goes on. And that's why before we even go into true spirituality, question your motives. Again, many people are looking for self-empowerment through spirituality because they're simply disempowered from within. So instead of addressing the reasons for self-disempowerment, they are looking for external tools to empower themselves. You cannot empower yourself externally. Because first of all, in order to empower yourself, you have to address the reason why you first of all feel disempowered and where it comes from. You have to identify that. And so our current modern, even psychotherapy, does not see a whole picture of who we are, doesn't have a spiritual background or deeper background. It's all just systems, patterns of how you're supposed to talk to a mentally imbalanced person to shrink them. But the true psycho-spiritual therapy, which actually heals you once and for all, takes time, but it is sure, because it addresses the root causes and it takes into account what you truly are, and helps you see all these transitory aspects of self, which so far have not been addressed, and which kind of push you into pseudo-spirituality, pseudo modalities of life, escapism, push you to propel drama in your life, and so on and so forth. So the true therapy or healing starts from trying to understand why you feel so disempowered right now. What is it, and what is it related to in your early times of life? Do not try to explain your traumas. Do not try to analyze them. Do not try to think of them logically. Perceive the pain. Perceive the pain and try to understand first what disempowers you. So that you can understand how you create through this pain corruption in your external life, how you start running after or chasing shadows and illusions in the external world, whether it's an illusion of spirituality or illusion of power, illusion of success, or illusion of money and success, and so on and so forth. Most of the people come to spirituality because they're disempowered and they think that, or because they're traumatized and they think that they can just escape from these. No, you can't. So all you will do is promote the spirituality of trauma from within yourself until you actually face this trauma and realize the roots and learn from it and let go and refine. So once you refine, you will see loss of interest towards that form of spirituality, because you will see that that form of spirituality was found by you, or you attracted this, or it attracted you because there was that root, the root of corruption and illusion. And so it goes with everything. And so it's very important to understand that true healing comes only through refinement and letting go, and understanding what, first of all, drives you towards certain limited forms of spirituality, limited forms of existence in general. So as long as we don't get it and we promote our own ego's pursuits, we cannot come across true spirituality, and that's it.